If you found this video today, it's not by accident. Something deep inside you guided you here. Maybe you can't explain it with your mind, but your soul knows. The old version of you, the one you've been carrying for years, is ready to fade away. Not in a physical death, but in an energetic one. That part of you has served its purpose. And now your quantum field is calling you to rise into your highest timeline. Right now, as you listen, there is an invisible force wrapped around you. This force has kept you repeating the same thoughts, the same habits, the same story of who you believe yourself to be. And here's the secret most people don't understand. This force isn't just in your imagination, it's encoded in your energy, written into your reality at the smallest level of existence. Scientists call it the quantum field. Mystics call it the veil. Either way, it is very real. And here's the strange part. The more you try to change from the place of your old identity, the harder it becomes. Have you noticed that? You push, you plan, you try new methods, but the core of your life feels the same. Meanwhile, you've seen people transform almost overnight. New life, new energy, new possibilities, while others stay trapped for decades. Why does this happen? The answer isn't willpower, it isn't luck. It's something much deeper. It's what quantum physics calls observer collapse, and what the ancient mystics knew as the death of the false self, the quantum moment. There is a moment, real, measurable, and powerful, where your consciousness shifts. In that moment, the old version of you begins to dissolve at the quantum level, and when that happens, something beautiful takes place. The universe reorganizes itself around the new you. Life begins to flow differently. Doors open, people appear, energy shifts, the outer world responds to the inner change. Most people never reach this mode, meant because they're working against the laws of transformation. They try to fix the old self instead of letting it go. They try to upgrade the old program instead of shutting it down. Imagine trying to tune into a new radio station while refusing to stop playing the old one. It's impossible. And yet, that's what most self-help teaches. The mystics of Tibet once said, "You cannot pour new wine into old wineskins." And now neuroscience is proving this wisdom true. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research shows that when we truly release our old identity, the brain rewires instantly. Old neural pathways, the ones that kept us locked in patterns, fade. New pathways form in alignment with our highest potential. Transformation is not slow when it's real, it's immediate. But here's what no one tells you. This shift doesn't happen by effort. It doesn't happen because you try harder. It happens in a moment of full surrender, when the old you stops existing as a possibility. Quantum physicists call this decoherence. Mystics call it rebirth. It is the death of the false self and the unveiling of the real you. Are you ready? Now the question is, are you one of the few souls ready to step into this? Because what you'll hear in the next minutes may change how you see reality itself. Letting go isn't just a spiritual idea. It is a quantum requirement if you want to live in higher dimensions of existence. Each morning when you wake, you collapse infinite possibilities into one reality. Without realizing it, you're choosing which self you will be today. And most people unconsciously choose the same self they were yesterday. They react the same, feel the same emotions, repeat the same thoughts. Each time they do, they strengthen the probability wave that locks them into that version of themselves. But here's the miracle. In the quantum field, all possibilities exist at once. The confident you, he abundant you, the deeply peaceful you, already exist. So does the fearful you, the limited you, the repeating the past you. What decides which version becomes real? Your observation, your awareness, your choice. Science meets spirit. This is where science and spirituality meet. The Vedic texts spoke of Maya, the illusion of self. Buddhists spoke of anatta, the truth that no fixed self exists. Mystics said the self is a mask, and now physicists are proving it. Your identity is not solid, it is not permanent, it is simply a collection of repeated patterns, neural pathways so familiar they feel like you. But here's the revelation. Those pathways only exist because you keep choosing them. They are alive because you feed them with attention and emotion. The instant you stop identifying with them, they dissolve. That is not imagination, that is quantum physics. The false self melts, not as destruction, but as freedom. This is why every spiritual story involves death and rebirth. The hero always surrenders, lets go, enters the unknown. It is not just a myth, it is the mechanics of consciousness. The old self must die for the new self to emerge. But here's the truth most people fear. Letting go feels like losing. It feels like death. We cling to the old because we think it is us. But the truth is, the false self is not who you are. It's the prison hiding who you are. When you let go, you are not losing your power. You are losing the illusion that has blocked it. The threshold. Right now, as you absorb these words, your quantum field is shifting. Can you feel it? That lightness in your chest, that subtle expansion in your energy, that's not imagination. That is your nervous system, beginning to release the old patterns. Physicists call this entanglement, with higher possibilities. Mystics call it awakening. Neuroscientists call it neuroplasticity activation. I call it remembering. This is the threshold, the place where the old you loosens and the true you starts to shine through. Don't force it, don't try to figure it out, just allow it. Surrender is not weakness, it is alignment with the infinite intelligence that has always been guiding you. A personal story, I know this because I've lived it. Years ago, I sat in my car outside a diner at 2 a.m, crying so deeply I felt my soul breaking open. I had walked away from everything, career, relationship, identity. My mind screamed with fear. What will people think? How will you survive? You're throwing your life away. But then something shifted. I realized those voices were not the real me. They belonged to the old self, the one who needed validation, who thought safety came from control. And in that moment, I surrendered completely. I stopped fighting. I let go. Within weeks, life began to transform. People appeared who aligned with my true path. Opportunities unfolded that I never could have planned. And most importantly, I felt a peace I had never known. Not because life was perfect, but because I was no longer trying to control it. I wasn't maintaining a false identity anymore. That night taught me the deepest truth. Transformation doesn't come from fixing the old self. The old self dissolves, and the new self emerges. It's not an upgrade. It's a rebirth. Signs of a quantum shift. So how do you know if the shift is happening to you? The universe whispers in signs. 1. Divine dissatisfaction. Things that used to satisfy you no longer do. Your job, your routines, your relationships feel too small. It's not depression. It's your soul outgrowing its old cage. 2. Reality glitches. Strange synchronicities increase. Repeating numbers, dreams that feel more real than waking, thinking of someone just before they call. These aren't accidents. They are hints that your consciousness is touching higher dimensions. 3. Body wisdom. Your body becomes a guidance system. What's aligned feels light and energizing. What's false feels heavy and draining. The old self ignores. At these signals, the true self honors them, Don't panic. This is not regression. It's what researcher David Hawkins called the purgation, old patterns surfacing to be released. Quantum mentors appear. Books, teachers, conversations, and people show up as if guided. The universe reorganizes itself to support your awakening. The dark night. Everything you relied on may feel empty. It's not the end. It's the cocoon before the butterfly. The old self must dissolve for the true self to emerge. If these signs resonate, you're already inside the quantum shift. The only question is, will you trust the process? The collapse point. There is a specific moment known across traditions and sciences. The alchemists called it nigredo, the blackening when everything dissolves. Neuroscience calls it the neural gap, the space between old pathways dying and new ones forming. Quantum physics calls it the collapse point, when one reality ends and another begins. This moment happens not once but many times, each time deeper, each time requiring more trust. And each time it's an initiation. If you can surrender, you pass through. If you resist, you stay stuck between two worlds. But here's the gift. Every time you surrender, you rise closer to your highest self. What really happens when you let go? When you let go of the old self, your entire being reorganizes. Neuroscientists call this coherent reorganization. Your nervous system calms, stress hormones lower, your body heals, peace arises, your brain clears, creativity flows, decisions become effortless because they come from truth, not fear. Your biology shifts. Dr. Bruce Lipton showed that beliefs can turn genes on or off. When you stop identifying with limitation, your body literally regenerates. Your relationships transform. You no longer need validation from others. You give love from wholeness, not lack. Opportunities align. Money, health, creativity all flow more easily when you know low. Anger blocking them with false beliefs. Most importantly, you discover quantum trust. You know life is working for you, not against you. You trust the intelligence of the universe. The caterpillar lesson. Think of the caterpillar. It doesn't try to become a better caterpillar. It doesn't attend caterpillar workshops. It dissolves completely. And in that dissolution, something miraculous happens. A butterfly emerges. This is what happens when you let go. You stop trying to improve the false self and allow the true self to unfold. The mystery, now here's the deeper mystery. The version of you who began this video is not the same as the one receiving these words. Something subtle has already shifted. Your quantum field knows it. Your higher self knows it. The universe knows it. The fact that you found this message, that you've stayed with it this far, is not chance. It was orchestrated. Forces beyond time and space have guided you here. Why? Because you are standing at a choice point. Continue being the old self, or surrender into the truth of who you really are. And here's the question I'll leave echoing in your heart. What if the shift isn't something that will happen one day in the future? What if it's already happening right now through you? If you felt the stirrings inside you, this is your call to go deeper. The journey doesn't end here. This is just the seed. In the next steps, you'll learn the practices that allow you to surrender with ease instead of struggle, to move through the quantum shift with joy instead of fear. So pause, breathe, feel the energy moving within you, trust it. You're not just watching a video about transformation, you're living it. You're participating in the awakening of consciousness itself. Welcome to the Quantum Nexo. Welcome to your rebirth. The journey continues in the next video. Choose the path that calls to your soul. It's not random, it's your quantum field guiding you. And remember, letting go is not losing, it's remembering who you've always been.